So I've just managed to get hands-on with TUDOR's brand new Pelagos 39, so I can actually tell you guys what it's like now in the metal. And for everyone who's worried that it's going to be too shiny, I'll tell you what I think. If you're new to the channel, my name's Simon and I like to talk about watches. So if you like watch content, click the subscribe button and go back and check out some of my other videos later. And if you can give this video an upvote, that would be great, as likes really help the channel to grow. So in the last few days I managed to get hands-on with TUDOR's brand new Pelagos 39. Not once actually, but twice. I think sometimes it's not always enough to just spend a few minutes with a watch, and I wanted to have another look at it. And the amazing team at Fraser Hart in Bristol were really accommodating as always, so a big shout out to them. So just very quickly to go back over the specs. I won't spend too much time on this because I covered them in my reaction video that I posted just after the watch was announced. So if you haven't seen that one, go back and check it out. So this is a new, smaller version of the Pelagos. The case has been reduced from 42mm to 39, and it's got a lug-to-lug measurement of just 47mm, which is great for someone with wrists as small as me. It's just 11.8mm thick, which is down from 14.3mm on the standard Pelagos, so it's a much slimmer watch too. As a result, the depth rating is 200 meters, down from 500 meters on the OG, and whereas the original Pelagos had the indices set into that steeply angled chapter ring, you've now got a more conventional arrangement of the indices on the dial. However, those indices are now made of solid blocks of loom, which is something that we first saw on the Black Bay Pro that was introduced earlier this year. Just like the original Pelagos, the case and the bracelet are made from Grade 2 titanium and are all brushed. But again, like the Black Bay Pro, this one has now got TUDOR's new T-Fit clasp, which offers about 10mm of micro adjustment on the fly. However, with the Pelagos, it also has a fold-out diver's extension too. And as with other models in the Pelagos line, it also comes supplied with a really soft and supple black rubber strap. The movement used inside is TUDOR's MT5400. It beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour, so it's 4 Hz. It's accurate to -2 to +4 seconds a day, so it's well within COSC standards, and it's got a 70-hour power reserve. Unlike TUDOR's original Pelagos, there's no date complication, and this allows the watch to be slimmer because there's just no need for a date wheel. Aside from the size and the lack of a date window, the other major visual difference is that the bezel insert and the dial have what TUDOR refers to as a satin sunray finish, which is very different from the matte finish on the dial and the bezel insert of the 42mm Pelagos. The price of this watch is £3,500 if you're here in the UK, or $4,400 if you're in the US. So before we go on to talk about what this watch is like in the metal, guys, please give this video an upvote. Likes really help the channel to grow. It's all that YouTube algorithm stuff that I don't understand. So let's get the big one out of the way first, and one of the concerns a lot of people have is about that satin sunray finish. Well, I can tell you that the bezel certainly has a sheen to it, but it's not at all what I would call glossy. The dial I was expecting to have a real radial sunburst effect to it, but it's really subtle, and you only notice it in direct light. One thing I did notice was that the dial appears to have, in certain lights, a real sparkle to it, almost like metallic paint. And it's actually one of the reasons that I had to go back and see this watch again, because for a moment there I thought I was going mad. So it's not mentioned in any of the other reviews I've seen or in any of TUDOR's press material. But I really like this satin sunray finish that TUDOR's gone for. It creates a nice little bit of light play when you turn the watch, and there's definitely a contrast between that and the very dull, brushed finish on the titanium case. You definitely notice that the knurling on the edge of the bezel and on the crown is much sharper than on the original Pelagos. It's much more like the FXD, and I think the design of the crown has been carried over from the Black Bay Pro. The bracelet is really slinky and it forms really well to the wrist. And with that 39mm case size and a lug-to-lug measurement of just 47mm, it's absolutely perfect if you've got really small wrists like me. That T-Fit clasp is great, I love it on my Black Bay Pro, but with the addition of the fold-out diver's extension, it's made the clasp really long. Now imagine somebody with a smaller wrist like me. By the time you've taken out the required number of links at either side, I think that clasp is going to be really noticeable, as it's going to take up quite a lot of the underside of your wrist. Aside from that minor niggle, this watch wears really well, but the one thing that surprised me was just how light it feels. I mean, I've got other titanium watches, I didn't have one with me to compare it to, but this thing feels so light it's almost like a toy when it's in the hand. But on the wrist, that lightness makes it super comfortable, and it's going to make it feel like you're almost not wearing a watch at all. Adrian from Bark & Jack did a great video I saw where he compared the Pelagos 39 to the 42 and to the Black Bay 58, and he weighed them all. If you haven't seen that video, guys, go and check it out. But he found that the Pelagos 39 weighed just 111 grams with no links removed, which is absolutely nothing. My new Doxer, which I'm still trying to get around to making a video about, weighs 162 grams in comparison, and that's on a rubber strap. So why is this new Pelagos 39 a game changer for me? Well, last year I came really close to buying a Pelagos, but that 42mm case size, combined with a lug-to-lug measurement of just under 50mm, and the thicker case, meant that it just really didn't work for me. With this new Pelagos 39, I feel like Tudor have taken all of the things that I really love about the Pelagos, and they've packaged them up in the perfect proportions of that Black Bay 58. Whereas the original Pelagos seemed like it was Tudor's take on the Rolex Sea Dweller, with the new Pelagos 39, I feel like they've taken inspiration from the 5513 no-date Submariner, but they've brought it right up to date with modern 21st century materials and finishes, in the same way that Tudor has unashamedly raided the Rolex archive for inspiration for some of its other recent models like the Black Bay Pro. And while there were rumours a while ago about Rolex maybe making a titanium Yachtmaster, after there were images of a concept that they made for Sir Ben Ainslie, I'm pretty sure that they'll never make a titanium sub. I mean, imagine if they did. I mean, the thing is, we'd never need watches again because the world would just stop. With this new Pelagos, a lot of people are saying that Tudor have lost what the Pelagos was intended to be, a pure tool watch that was designed to function 500 meters beneath the sea. And they're getting all irate about those shiny finishes and that depth rating of just 200 meters. Grrr. Certainly you can see from Tudor's messaging around the launch of the new Pelagos 39 that it's really designed to be a do everything, go everywhere watch, and almost like it could be the perfect one watch collection. And I think they're aiming this one at people who are just getting into the hobby, and this might be their first or maybe even their only watch, as well as enthusiasts like me whose watch habit takes them to the verge of bankruptcy on a regular basis. I also think this Pelagos 39 could very well scratch the itch for someone who wants a sub, but either maybe doesn't have a Submariner budget, or perhaps isn't considered worthy enough by their local Rolex AD, or someone who likes a sub but thinks that maybe it's a little bit too blingy, a bit too look at me. There's no doubt that this Pelagos 39 has already overtaken the Black Bay Pro as Tudor's hottest release of 2022 so far. But guys, I'd love to know what you think of the new Tudor Pelagos 39, so please tell me in the comments. As ever, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.